Some voters, though, might ask, you've been in the White House for 4 years, you were vice president, not the president, but why wasn't any of that done for the last 4 years?
Well, there was a lot that was done, but there's more to do, Anderson. And I'm pointing out things that need to be done, that haven't been done, but need to be.
Saludos a todos, bienvenidos una vez más a un episodio de Informe Orwell. Ayer la candidata a presidente por parte del Partido Demócrata, Kamala Harris, sostuvo un town hall con la cadena CNN, presuntamente no, cadena amiga de los demócratas, cadena con una clara línea ideológica de izquierda, y básicamente creo que terminaron de sepultar las posibilidades que tenía Kamala Harris de llegar a ser presidente. Y lo digo porque es que incluso es un poco impresionante que ni siquiera las cadenas amigas pueden tratar de esconder la displicencia o la inutilidad de Kamala Harris al momento de ofrecer respuestas, y básicamente terminó siendo humillada por el periodista Anderson Cooper, que, insisto, para todos aquellos que le hagan seguimiento a la política estadounidense saben que Anderson Cooper tiene una línea bastante progresista, bastante de izquierdas, pero incluso él no pudo evitar la humillación de Kamala Harris. En este video les quiero mostrar diferentes clips de estas humillaciones de Kamala Harris en la entrevista de ayer, y al final también les voy a mostrar lo que dijo Donald Trump sobre su contrincante Kamala Harris y cómo está siendo empujada por los demócratas para tratar de llegar al poder, pese a que básicamente no tiene argumentos para dar. Haciéndoles un breve resumen, en una de las preguntas cruciales, el periodista Anderson Cooper le pregunta que por qué razón ellos pudieron parar el grifo en la frontera de la inmigración ilegal a finales de este año, pero no lo hicieron durante los primeros 3 años de la administración Biden. Y ella básicamente va de atrás para adelante sin responder absolutamente nada. Dice que necesitaban una acción del Congreso, y él le dice, pero mira, si ustedes lo pararon al final con una acción ejecutiva, ¿por qué no hicieron esa acción ejecutiva antes? Y quedó completamente en ridículo. Les voy a poner ese clip y luego les sigo mostrando los demás videos de Kamala Harris.
2023, there were record border crossings. Your administration took hundreds of executive actions. It didn't stem the flow. Numbers kept going up. Finally, in 2024, just in June, 3 weeks before the first presidential debate with Joe Biden, you institute executive actions that had a dramatic impact, really shut down people crossing over. Why didn't your administration do that in 2022, 2023?
First of all, you're exactly right, Anderson. And as of today, we have cut the flow of immigration by over half. In fact, the numbers I saw most recently, illegal immigration
But if
is
it was
low.
that easy with that executive action, why not do it in 2022, 2023?
Because we were working with Congress and hoping that actually we could have a long-term fix to the problem instead of a short-term fix.
You couldn't have done one and both at the same time?
Well, here's the thing. We have to understand that ultimately this problem is going to be fixed through congressional action.
En este otro video, Kamala Harris habla abiertamente de querer imponer un control de precios en Estados Unidos para controlar el precio de los alimentos que se ha disparado en su administración. ¡Wow! ¡Qué innovador! Y qué inteligente. Vamos a ponerle topes a los precios como hacía Maduro en Venezuela para tratar de controlar la inflación que nosotros mismos desatamos imprimiendo dinero como locos y gastando dinero como locos. Inteligente. En fin, les voy a seguir poniendo este y los demás clips junto con la opinión de Donald Trump sobre todos estos dichos de Kamala Harris.
Prices have gone up quite a bit in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And some people blame former President Trump. Some people blame President Biden. Who would you say is correct? And what would you do to bring prices down for Americans?
Thank you, Eric. And you're absolutely right. You know it. I know it. I think most Americans know it. Price of groceries is still too high. And we need to address it in a number of ways. One of my aspects of doing what we need to do to bring down the cost of living for working people and the middle class in America is to address the issue of grocery prices. Part of my background and how I come to it is probably a new approach grounded in a lot of my experiences as a former attorney general, where I took on price gouging. And part of my plan is to create a new approach that is the first time that we will have a national ban on price.
What he's referring to, and you point out to when you were running for vice president in 2020, you were not talking about banning fracking, but...
No, Anderson, I pledged that I would not ban fracking.
Right, I know. You said you would not ban fracking.
Correct.
You had said in the 2019 town hall, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. In 2017, you talked about Medicare for all. You talked about 2019, you raised a hand in debate about if border crossings should be decriminalized. Are all of those issues, which those are not your positions now, are all those issues that you're saying through consensus and getting stuff done you have evolved on?
Well, no, let's take, for example, the issue of Medicare. My point has always been that access to health care should not just be a privilege of those who can afford it. It should be a right for all people. So that is why I have worked on doing what we have done to, one, allow Medicare to negotiate against the big pharmaceutical companies to bring down the cost of prescription medication. We've achieved that in terms of capping the cost of insulin for seniors at $35 a month, capping the cost of annual prescriptions at $2,000 a year for seniors. But my plan moving forward, based on that very principle that I've always had, is as president, to have that cap be for everyone and not just for our seniors. The work that I have done that has been about recognizing the importance of dealing with border security, that has never changed. As I said, I have prosecuted transnational criminal organizations. That I did for years before I ever ran in 2019.
Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw is about 2%. And then when it came time for him to do a photo op, you know where he did it? In the part of the wall that President Obama built.
But you're agreeing to a bill that would earmark $650 million to continue building that wall.
I pledge that I am going to bring forward that bipartisan bill to further strengthen and secure our border. Yes, I am. And I'm going to work across the aisle to pass a comprehensive bill that deals with a broken immigration system. I think Jackson's question, part of it was to acknowledge that America has always had migration, but there needs to be a legal process for it. People have to earn it. And that's the point that I think is the most important point that can be made, which is we need a president who is grounded in common sense and practical outcomes. Like, let's just fix this thing. Let's just fix it. Why is there any ideological perspective on this? Let's just fix the problem.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I am not afraid of good ideas where they occur.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything. I just talked about that wall, right? We just talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
I want to strengthen our border.
There's something you can point to in your life, political life or in your life in the last 4 years, that you think is a mistake that you have learned from?
I mean, I've made many mistakes. And they range from, if you've ever parented a child, you make lots of mistakes too. In my role as vice president, I mean, I've probably worked very hard at making sure that I am well versed on issues, and I think that is very important. It's a mistake not to be well versed on an issue and feel compelled to answer a question.
Preguntamos también qué hará con Venezuela. Como usted sabe, en verano Nicolás Maduro perdió unas elecciones, la oposición asegura que triunfó y la pregunta es si Nicolás Maduro se irá o no del poder en enero cuando termina su periodo. Le dijimos, ¿qué hará usted? ¿Cómo atenderá esta crisis en Venezuela? Esto nos dijo.
Nosotros no vamos a usar nuestras fuerzas militares ahí. Déjeme ser muy clara sobre esto, porque Estados Unidos debe mantenerse firme en el respeto a la voluntad de la gente en esa elección. Y yo he sido muy clara sobre eso. En cuanto a la elección que ocurrió en Venezuela, la voluntad de la gente debe ser respetada. Y por eso hemos emitido sanciones.
Bueno, ya la escuchó, no uso de la fuerza militar en Venezuela si es que ella gana la presidencia de Estados Unidos.
So we are running against the most radical, most incompetent, most unfit vice president in the history of our country. No one respects her, no one trusts her, no one takes her seriously. This is a woman who took yesterday off. How do you take yesterday off? You got 13 days, you're running for the presidency, she takes her time off. I've gone 52 days in a row and I'm not taking any days off, that I can tell you. No, but she's, think of that, she's taking days off at levels not seen. I hear she's taking another one tomorrow or something. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Maybe she knows something we don't know. That's bad, right? Maybe she knows something we don't know. Does everybody understand that? Maybe. She takes a day to study for a simple interview with an MSDNC reporter, but then makes a fool of herself with answers that are so crazy. And we'll never forget 60 Minutes. We're never going to forget it. We can't. I think I'm going to sue them, actually, because there's no way they can answer it. There's no way they can say, no, we don't like the answer she gave, and they immediately replace it with something. There's no way they can answer that. But we are not running against Kamala. She means nothing. She is purely a vessel. She can't put two sentences together. She can't do it. Just like we were not running against crooked Joe Biden, who, by the way, said yesterday about me, quote, "We got to lock him up." I told you. He said, then he denied it. I didn't mean that. Because he's not legally allowed to say. He can't say that. But I've been telling you that. It's election interference. This is all it is. He said, we got to lock him up. This is illegal and should cause cases. I mean, look, think of it. I've been under investigation more than the legendary Alphonse Capone, Scarface. And my parents are looking down, and my father was tough, and my mother was great. She was so sweet. And I said yesterday, I know she's in heaven. I'm not 100% sure of my father, but he was a good man. He's a tough guy and a good guy. He had a big heart, too, and he was smart. But they're looking down on me now and they're saying, how the hell could my son be worse than Alphonse Capone? How could he be? No, but these are crooked people. This is all election interference. And you know the amazing thing? It made me much more popular. It's crazy, right? Because the people got it. Crazy. But as I've said, these lawsuits are being run by the Department of Justice, the FBI. Biden is behind it all, believe it or not. And he proved that yesterday with his stupid statement. And people are outraged by it, and we're running against something far bigger, far more powerful than them, which is a massive, vicious, crooked, radical left machine that runs today's Democrat Party. It's far bigger than them. This is who we're fighting, and we're fighting them hard. These are the people who are doing such harm to our country with their open borders and record-setting inflation and the Green New scam. They're trying to destroy our country. But we're not going to let it happen any longer. We are going to have the biggest victory in the history of our country on November 5th.